You're listening to the Behind the Cover podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Shure, the premier choice for affordable, durable, and exceptional sounding microphones. With almost a century of microphone design legacy, Shure is committed to delivering immersive sound experiences that resonate with professionals and enthusiasts alike. Whether it's audio production, podcasting, live performances, conferencing, or any form of content creation, Shure is your go-to brand for high-stakes moments, offering reliability and excellence in sound.
Michelle Williams, there is so much to cover in this podcast, not just looking back and getting a little bit nostalgic, but also looking forward, looking at your advocacy around mental health, looking at your love of gospel music, faith, everything like that. But firstly, what do you remember about this iconic Rolling Stone cover shot from May 2001?
Oh, that Rolling Stone cover, the outfit, the cover is one of my favorites. I have that cover framed, and I have a physical copy as well. I love the outfit. It was something about the subtle sexiness that, especially my pants had a little cutout of skin, just a little bit. My abs were abbing.
Oh my God, they
looked amazing. And so we all looked incredible. I really loved that cover. I was a newbie still, but I was like, Dad, I'm on the cover of Rolling Stone. My father was a lover of music. If he was alive today, he would love this setup that we have right now. But he had milk crates full of vinyl records, and a lot of those records have been covered by Rolling Stone. So I was like, I made it. I really felt I made it we all felt we made it once we landed that cover.
And then who knew all of the career successes that were coming your way after. But what I also love about that cover, and I don't know if you noticed it, but you're the only one of the three not looking at the camera. You're looking slightly up, and it's like you're in this league of your own. And it made me remember that when I was reading the cover story, because you're actually a very big part of the story, because I think a lot of fans were wanting to learn about you, and I think that the writer, Jancy Dunn, she really wanted to do that justice, that curiosity around you. And she wrote this bit, and I want to read it to you. She said, Michelle, lean and long in tan pants and a camouflage tank, is earthy and easygoing. As family friend Vanell Jackson describes her, one of them down-home sister girls, eating cornbread and red beans type girls. Do you remember feeling like you were accurately captured in that piece?
I went and read it back, and I do think that I was, because, when I got into Destiny's Child, it was a moving train. So I was learning as I was going, right? I didn't have a lot of the media training and the development that Beyoncé and Kelly had, but that's what, and I don't mean that because, oh my gosh, I didn't have media training. That was so cool that I could listen, we're grown now, they got kids and married, I'll say it. I would probably say things that they couldn't. And I loved it. There were moments where we'd be in interviews and they would be holding my knee because they were like, what is she gonna say? But every friendship needs that one person that might set things straight. Because I came into that group instantly protective of Beyoncé and Kelly. Instantly protective. I came in that group a team player. I came in that group, what do y'all need me to do? Because I knew of these girls who had a dream, and an aspect of that didn't work out. How can I come in and help us win? So I always feel like regardless, throughout the years, regardless of what has been written about me, whatever is said about me, I knew my mission. And we had an agreement. We're here to win. We don't care about nothing that's going on. And if female groups could learn that, you would sustain and even have friendships that go beyond what you do in the studio. And that's what I'm glad that we have.
God, I didn't realize the responsibility that you took on at such a young age in that. And obviously you took it on with joy and pride, but at the end of the day, it was
sheer ignorance. I took that round. Let's say ignorance, because I had no idea what I was signing up for. No idea. It's like, oh, you guys need somebody? Let's go. Ignorance, let's add that adjective.
Yeah. But there's a hint of the taxing part of that as well, because, you know, the writer actually says that during those first 2 weeks, you were rehearsing 12 hours a day, every single day. And I know that mental health advocacy and your work and your the resources that you put into that space is mammoth now. But there were hints of it even back then, because I want to read this to you. It says, at the time, Michelle was also battling insecurity. And there's a quote from you. I mean, many tears were shed, she says. I was comparing myself to other members and the pressure was on me. So my question is, what do you think a young Michelle Williams would say to you now?
Everything that I felt back then, now that I've had enough therapy, was a normal human response. Okay? No, this is not going to be a mental health masterclass, but what I will say is it was natural to feel nervous. It was normal to feel insecure. You know, LaToya and Latavia, the original members of Destiny's Child, they had fans that grew to love them. They're no longer there. So how can I come in and be both of them? Feeling like I had to.
That's 4 shoes to fill.
That's feeling like I had to versus finding my rhythm, which would eventually come, right? But yeah, there were, real tears because I wanted to do a good job. I wanted the world to know, like, this is why Beyoncé and Kelly chose me. You better figure it out. This is why I'm here. And again, that grew in time throughout the years of being together.
Do you think of young Michelle Williams back then and what she would think of looking at your career now? You know, I was just listening to a podcast that you released this morning with Dr. Varma, and it talked about the 4 M's of mental health and everything like that. And I just wonder if you think of what young you would think of everything you've done and become now.
Again, I didn't have language for what I was feeling back then, right? And we traced symptoms of depression and anxiety to the 7th grade. So I brought that in to my professional music career, not even knowing. Then you bring it into a career that's already high anxiety. Like, what are you doing? And so I'm learning that sometimes people will choose careers based off of some, things that emotionally how they are as children and in their teens. So if I had anxiety growing up, so to me, it was normal. Like, it's normal to have this type of anxiety. And there are normal types of anxiety. Me meeting you for the first time or you meeting me for the first time. I can imagine, I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but I can imagine this is what I've told from other people who are gonna meet me for the first time. The anxieties of, is she gonna be nice? Is this going to be a horrible interview?
This is a big moment for me. I just want to address that on the record. I am very happy and excited to be here. And with that comes nerves.
But let's reword anxiety for what you just said. I'm really excited at the moment. So for what I was going through in the early days of Destiny's Child when I was there, like, could it have been just normal excitement? There were nerves. Could there have also been anxiety, right? So, but I'm learning to change that. Your words are everything. Like, I hate going places by myself, like big events by myself. So instead of saying, oh, I'm so nervous, I have to walk in and say, I want to have a great time, right? But I wish I would have known that back then to even say, what you're feeling is normal. So that's what I would tell 20-year-old Michelle.
And you get to go places as well. You know, like that language is so important. Instead of, I got to do this and I got to do this.
Yeah.
I get to do this.
I get to do this. You get it. You got it.
And that's what I love about your podcast too, and your book, is that you're bringing in these experts, these people who, you know, it really is their life's mission to study the human brain and that human experience as well. You're so devoted to raising awareness in everything that you do now. Is there anything that you're currently working on? We know the success of your book Checking In 2021. We know the podcast is going gangbusters. Is there any new projects that you're working on in the mental health space that you can talk about?
I would like to work on something for children and teens. Because the book, a child or a teen can read it, but I want to do something that, you know, is for them, to give them the language that I didn't have in the 7th grade. Now, there are children who are so emotionally intelligent and aware. They feel their feelings. They can even identify those feelings. But there are some children who might be in certain communities or cultures where you don't talk about it, sweep it under the rug. What do you mean? What do you mean you're sad? You don't pay the bills. You know, could you imagine like you go into your parent and say, Mom, I think I could be depressed. What are you depressed about? All you do is go to school and eat lunch in the cafeteria, right?
And it's big for them. In their world, being sad or depressed is huge.
Yeah. So I want to give children language whose feelings might be dismissed or just something that they can't articulate yet.
And how do you want to do that? Do you want to do a book, or do you want to do, what's the vision?
I would love to do a book, some type of tour, you know, maybe Uber, you know, you guys, you can get on board.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
We'll do a tour together. I mean, Uber One, by the way, has been just so much fun, but I love relationships like this to where, you know, you don't want it just something to be transactional. Like, people become my family, you know, when you do things like that. So to even have this opportunity, I know we're supposed to talk about the campaign, but to even be able to give me some time to talk about another passion of mine is, I don't take it for granted.
Well, I do want to talk about it because I find it so incredible and so funny. And here's why I find it funny, because there is this thought that you're the least known member of Destiny's Child, but now it feels like you're in on the joke. And not only does it feel like you're in on the joke, but you're just having so much fun with it and you don't take yourself too seriously.
I don't. I don't. There are some pros and cons. You know, I think of some of my peers who cannot walk down this street in Atlanta, right? Without being recognized, phones out at them all the time. I can imagine what that's like. For me, it's respectable. I do get the occasional nod. Oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, okay. You know, or depending on if I'm shopping, everybody wants to be my sales associate because they think I'm gonna just spend all this money.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? So I'm okay with that. Now, you know, money isn't everything, but I love that I make a living out of doing what I love to do. I make a living. I can, you know, help provide resources for people to get help they need or to branch off and do something in their career. I love that. So while you're making fun of me, I just left the bank.
Crying and dabbing your tears with a $100 bill.
She's the least recognized member. It's tragic.
You know what else I learned about you in the ad campaign? You're very funny. Have you ever done anything?
By the way, I know money is not everything. I know that.
And we also know where you're using it.
I just want to make that disclaimer.
By the way,
it's not everything, but it helps.
But was that your first foray into comedy acting? Or have you done it in theater a bit? I don't know.
Well, theater. I mean, when you think of Chicago, the musical, Roxy Hart,
true, very
she's
true.
Bonkers. I love that I could be as silly. Of course, I had to stick to the script, but she was darling. Suge Avery playing her in The Color Purple. You know, there were some comedic moments there. So I do love being able to. It's different to be just funny, be a funny person, but to do it on cue and on script, there is an art to that as well.
It's nuanced in this campaign. I can't wait for everyone to see it as well.
The humor, Aussie humor, by the way, is absolutely like, it's more hilarious to me.
We love a self-deprecator.
It gives me, not that Larry David was a self-deprecator, but it's something about his humor. You're like, did he just make fun of me? He did.
Did he go there?
You're not smart enough to catch it.
Yeah.
It's for smart people.
And then you made fun of yourself, which, you know, like you really don't take yourself too seriously.
I haven't been able to do that all the time. Like when I fell on live TV, it took me years to be able to watch that because everybody makes such a big deal about it. And I was like, let me rest when I'm over it.
Yeah.
Okay, it took me a while to get over it.
Why do you think it took you a while?
Because people acted like I was the only human on the planet
To fall.
to fall.
Also, when Jennifer Lawrence falls on the red carpet, she's more relatable now.
Again, I can laugh at it now, you know. I'm reminded of it probably, it used to be every week that somebody would like do a meme or something.
Oh, come on.
Like, maybe once a month now. I just think social media, there are people who who make you not be the topic. Like it's going to be a whole nother news cycle that happens. So there are lots of things that are going on that are more current than me falling.
Well, let's talk about media really honing in on celebrity as well, because when you think about your career with Destiny's Child, with Beyoncé and Kelly, you went through it, through the eye of the storm and then out the other side when it comes to fandom, when it comes to you being a media focus. And then I think of a lot of other pop artists in that time, in the early 2000s, who have really felt a fallout from that focus. I'm thinking of Britney Spears, I'm thinking of Amy Winehouse, I'm thinking of Lindsay Lohan. What are your thoughts around celebrity and how the media really kind of hones in and zones in on them now versus your experience with it when you were in Destiny's Child?
Well, let's say social media. Now, had we had social media back then, I recently asked this question, like, would we have made it if social media...
Of course, the music is phenomenal. Are you kidding?
I know, but everybody having something to say about the group changes, you know, we would have had to probably would have had to ignore a lot. But what I will say about social media is that if you choose for it to be, it gives you the opportunity to tell your truth. Give us a sneak peek of how you really live your life, although everybody doesn't post everything about their life. But there were people there was one time when Prince, when he tweeted, you're like, what? You know, when Halle Berry finally got on Instagram, like, what? Can I get a sneak peek on how you keep your pores so tight?
Please.
She has the best skin. Can you give us a sneak peek into your beauty routine? So I will say that it helps people create their narrative and their own story, you know. And that was even the point of me writing, say, my book, Checking In. I wanted you to hear from me what happened versus like when I had to check into a treatment facility for depression, an outlet got wind of that and they were gonna tell it, right? So it's like, no. I will tell my story before you do because I want it to be accurate. If we gonna tell it accurately. And I think that's what public figures desire, is that, hey, I know when I signed up for this, my life becomes whatever, but can we accurately discuss this?
And Checking In really does that too. It goes deep, you know, it really does uncover your experiences with depression, faith, stigmas attached to mental health as well. What did you learn about your purpose in this life through writing that book, Checking In, and then through turning it into this podcast that you have too?
Purpose is to positively impact the lives of as many people as I can, to give people language to feelings or responses that they feel like are overwhelming, that are affecting relationships, you know. And hopefully it gives them the courage. You know, you don't have to shout it from the mountaintop like I do. But hopefully, if you want to quietly go seek some counseling, do it. You quietly have courage. You can go do that. I think everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves that.
You know what I love about your career is this humility that you seem to have. You know, you're a Grammy winner, you've had 4 successful albums, you've been on Broadway, you're an author, you're a podcast host, and then you still have this humility around you. I think we are running out of time, but I wanted to know where that humility came from. Was that ingrained in you from childhood, or did you grow into it?
Well, you were reading to me something that the Rolling Stone reporter said earlier on. It's just being from the Midwest, being an Illinois girl, being surrounded by cornfields and cows. You know, my grandmother was one of the best bakers I knew. People would always ask her to make their wedding cakes or make meatballs for their baby showers. Now on social media, baby shower meatballs are a thing. They were like the sweet and sour type thing.
Oh, yum.
But it was something about her willingness to serve.
There it is.
I love to serve. I don't care what I've become. Leaders, if you can't serve, I can't look at you to lead. If you're too big to help somebody, if you're too big, if something falls over right now, I'm not too big to help pick it up, right? I've just learned that from growing up in the church as well. We served. You know, my mother has to preach in 2 weeks. And even though I am who I am, she's like, are you gonna sing a solo before I bring my message?
And are you?
I suppose.
If your mom tells you to do it, you gotta do it.
I'm like, Mom, me getting on a plane, sitting on that church pew, can that be enough? So we'll see. My brother's coming in town to play the organ for her. So it'd be a cool reunion for me and my brother to work together. So
there'll be a good turnout in the church as well if you're getting up.
We talked about serving, and so that's where I get it from. My family does not care. They're like, can you help us season this chicken? Like, can you go pick up so-and-so from daycare? I'm like, okay.
I love that though. I just want to also just say thank you so much. Thank you for all you have done for the industry and all that you continue to do as well, because you've taught so many women about female empowerment, about connection to faith. And thank you. Thank you for the gift that you keep giving to us.
Thank you. You are really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this flowed like a conversation. Like I would probably give you my social security number.
That's an endorsement.
Just playing.
Oh, I'm going to make that my Twitter bio. Thank you.
All right.